It's the Dadnarok After Show. Now, here's Chris and Sean.
Welcome back once again to the Dadnarok After Show. This is Sean.
And it's Chris.
And tonight we're talking Halo Season 2, Episode 3, entitled I Have No Idea. What's the title?
Visgard?
Oh, right. Which is a part of Reach, I understand. Like a section of Reach. Out in the woods.
I think it's out by that relay.
Yeah.
Where, come to find out the Master Chief was right all along about.
Yeah, we knew he was right as a viewer, right? It's like those old 80s movies where the kids see vampires and none of the adults believe them.
None of the adults believe them.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. We're live, by the way. We're live here every Friday night to cover Halo this season. Halo premieres every Thursday on Paramount Plus, and we're here to talk about it the next night with y'all. We're live. We're interactive. We invite you, please, for the love of Spartans, go ahead and comment and ask us questions.
Help us get to that 500 subscriber mark. We're about 20 away. So any love, we appreciate.
If we get 500 subscribers, YouTube gives us $500. I read that somewhere. So go ahead and do it.
I think our wives will be appreciative because they're not sure. They don't know that they're roped into this yet, but I'm pretty sure they won't be disappointed by hitting us with a pie. So,
oh, yeah.
We are not above doing hokey things for subscribers.
Sure.
Let's dive into this, man. I watched this. I can't wait now. Wednesdays are first thing I do is I turn this on and I hit play.
Yeah.
Or is it Thursday? I'm sorry. Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
So, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. I just have the ability to do so. And I watched it and I sent a message to you and Christopher. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I loved this. Not the episode I thought we were getting, but after I watched it, it's the episode I feel like we needed to get to set us up for what is now coming.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I did, inadvertently, I think you kind of popped it up for me. Like you gave me higher expectations going in. And maybe because of that, I felt like it dragged a little bit most of the episode. But at the end, where we got to where we needed to get to, it felt like it earned the spot we were in. You know what I mean? Like it felt like, okay, well, that episode was basically to lead us to where we're going for the rest of the season, kind of thing. Like it was that, it was like you said, it was needed.
Only thing is I was worried right out the gate. The first 5 minutes or so, I was concerned. I'm like, oh, they're doing the whole, Master Chief's losing his mind. He's losing his team. The Spartan, all the silver teams turning their back on him.
Yeah, I don't. I don't want to spend a whole season dwelling, like going back and forth. Is he seeing things? Is he not? Like, I'm glad they're progressing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like now we know it's Admiral Keys. It's no longer Captain Keys.
Yeah.
Went ahead and was turned his back on him. So said, I'm the only reason you're not in the brig.
Right.
So that part of the show, that part of the episode is the only part of the episode that I truly was I didn't care for. I don't need to see our main hero being beaten down so far when, come to find out, everyone should have believed him in the first place.
Right, yeah. Which, now that you bring it up, in regards to Ackerson, he has a conversation later in this episode with Keys about, he already knows that, here it is.
When we can win.
He already knows that they're on Reach.
This was hands down the best scene in the show's entirety. Season 1, season 2. I thought it was the back and forth. It was, the dialogue, I felt like you got realness out of Ackerson.
Yeah.
And then
Go
you got
yourself.
And then you got, and then you went ahead and you got, Admiral Keys being like, this is my home.
Yeah.
I'm a soldier. I'm not running. I'm not tucking tail and just running. So the back and forth, like him saying, how long have you known that Master Chief was right the whole time, and yet you're not telling us? You let Cobalt team go to their death?
Right.
So
well, that's what I was going to ask you. Why the heck do you think Ackerson was keeping this so close to the vest, especially with Master Chief? almost like gaslighting Master Chief because he knew Master Chief was correct and right in his way of thinking, but was still like, "Are you sure you saw what you saw?" Like, why the hell was he what is he did he have something against John in particular? Like, why wouldn't he bring him in and just be like, "Hey, I know there's probably a threat that's out there. I'm just trying to keep this on the down low because I don't want people to panic yet. But yeah, we need to look further into this." You know what I mean? Like, what's with the secrecy and the
I think it's twofold. I think the first part is we find out Ackerson's history. We find out Julia, who's been going and seeing Dr. Halsey, that clone, that's
yeah,
his sister.
yeah,
So we see this. We know his sister. Halsey comes out and says she was a part of the Spartan program
mhm.
and she didn't survive. So she died. We find out his dad, another like making him human, which was another really good scene with Ackerson in this episode. I thought he had a great show
Yeah, and
where
the guy that played his father too did a really good job. Like, he's probably a one and done character because he passes away in this episode,
oh yeah, I
but,
would assume yeah, he can't be 2
well, unless
episodes
they
till he
have some kind
dies.
of flashback or something, they may
Oh,
have a
okay, I can give
flashback.
you that. Yeah,
But, yeah, he had a really good, performance in this show too. It was quick. Yeah, it did a lot, those scenes between the 2 to kind of, where you could sympathize with Ackerman a bit more than just this facade he's been putting on this whole
yeah.
time.
So I think it's like I said. I think it's one of it's twofold. I think all the bad history he has on Reach, he has no problem seeing Reach destroyed and leveled and started anew.
Yeah,
I think that basically wipes his slate, his history clean, and he feels like he can start anew somewhere else.
right.
But I think he's also leaning on Cortana. Cortana is saying 97% this can't be stopped, and there's nothing that they can add to the equation that's going to change this equation. But he's missing out. I think he's completely missing out on Silver Team. He's not giving her the proper information to be able to complete those calculations. So I think he's leaning in those two, and I think it's ignorance more than a lack of caring for everybody that's on the planet.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Now that we're talking about it, that does stuff like this kind of bugs me. Like when you're facing world-ending consequences, when you just throw everything you have at it, as opposed to like we have the silver team, we have these assets, but I'm gonna sit them because why? Like I the
Is
is
there a
he?
part of cat and mouse happening here? He's leaving. He doesn't want to be no part of this. He said they're going to fight, but they're not going to win. So
Yeah,
he knows they're coming, and if he leaves the defenses on reach,
yeah,
they can fight, but the outcome isn't going to be what they want. It's going to let all the brass escape, but all
right.
the peons are going to perish.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Ackerman. Uh, we do know, and thanks for the person that commented on our show's episode last week on YouTube. I don't know if you have their username up, but they said that Ackerman is definitely has a larger role going forward. And the user was nice enough to not give us any direct spoilers, which
Yes,
I do appreciate.
he's
You
very
know that
aware
we're
that yeah.
new to all this, but it's fair to say that Ackerman has a large part going forward. And I'm wondering what that looks like, what side of the coin he's gonna fall on. If he do you think he could be like a Covenant double agent kinda thing?
No,
No?
no, I don't think. No, I think he's just a squirmy politician. Essentially,
Yeah.
he's gotten to his place in power just basically, and it seems like he got to his place in power almost through name,
Mm.
and because his sister was, within the Spartan program, his dad apparently was a big name on Reach because he's building these bridges and he's building all this. So there's name, there's wealth, and there's everything already built into the Ackerson name.
Yeah.
So
What's his relationship with, Halsey? Do you think do you get a sense like they have known each other for a long time, or are they new to each other?
I think they knew each other, but not
Yeah.
knew each other. Like he knew her, but
Mhm.
she didn't so much know him. Like, she knows him through name because of Julia,
Mm.
if that makes
Okay.
sense. But not so much like they're sitting down and having lunch or having a conversation, during working hours.
Okay, so that's what I'm wondering because there seems to be some kind of a familiarity between the 2. Like, when he just pops in like, at first, I thought maybe she doesn't know who the heck he is at all because it seemed like he was kinda keeping his distance. He was keeping his, appearance a secret by sending in Julia,
Yeah.
as opposed to just coming in himself, right? But then this episode, he just pops in like nothing, like he has been doing it the whole time. And it's not like a big reveal. It's not like a, "Oh, you," or "Who are you?" Like, she doesn't ask, "Who are you?" Like,
I think,
um
though, I think that's a part of Halsey's character. She's been
mm,
within the Spartan character. Cracking Halsey is what he wants to do,
yeah.
and she's not a nut that is easily cracked, if that makes
No.
sense. And
Yeah.
she can hold her own because she's been a loner her whole career. Even though she had Keys, she had Miranda, her family were the Spartans,
Right.
and they are a completely different breed of people. So I think he's trying to get to her because of what happened to Julia. And
Yeah.
we see that even play out a little bit further because we see Soren get captured at the end of episode 2.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
know Soren is looking for Halsey. And we end a part of that episode with him bringing because she basically almost said checkmate on him because he was playing like mental warfare with her,
Yeah.
and she flipped that on his head. Like,
Right.
he didn't see it coming when she broke down what happened to Julia and how Julia was sick and she wasn't actually going to go ahead and survive the process.
Yeah.
So what's he do? He pulls in his trump card and brings in Soren and just walks away. And you see Soren smile.
Yeah, that was an interesting, interaction between the 2 because Halsey definitely looked surprised, shocked, maybe afraid, and then Soren was almost like I guess it was if it was a smile, it was a subtle smile. He wasn't, like, really I don't know what this next episode looks like. You get a feeling like from how obsessive he was in the beginning of this episode, and maybe even scenes last year. I'm not sure if I remember if you talked about Halsey a lot last year, but we definitely get the sense that he hates Halsey and he wants to do harm to Halsey.
Well,
But
he
it's like,
blames Halsey for his condition, but I don't know if Halsey completely knows that. I think she knows that he deserted,
yeah,
but I don't think she knows he blames her for his condition, everything that he went through. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic there in that cell when she finds out that he's has so much hatred towards her.
Yeah, I think the following scene with those 2 is gonna be a good one because I feel like we are gonna get a lot of dialogue, a lot of backstory between the 2 of them in particular, and setup of where we go from here. Because I'll be honest, if they're able to, bury the hatchet at least temporarily while Reach is being invaded, I think, Soren and Halsey together, that could be a dynamic duo,
That's
you know?
dangerous.
Yeah,
Those
I
two
think that's
together,
pretty
the
dangerous.
muscle and the brains,
Yeah.
that would be I'd be a very dangerous duo. And I watched the Declassified on
Mhm.
Paramount Plus. Kind of it
Yeah.
breaks down the episode, then it gives you a glimpse into next week. And I'm not
Right.
going to go into what that was if no one's seen it, but it looks interesting. Like, I'm
Okay.
ready for this to go. Like, when I seen the preview to next week, I was pumped. Like, I'm jonesing for this next episode because I loved how, like, Master Chief goes to a full, like, almost full character arc in this
Mhm.
one episode. He goes from when he basically gets busted for breaking protocol and no mission,
Yeah.
and then they basically shut him down. They shut down the whole Silver Team, and he's got to go for a psych eval.
Yeah.
And I
That
find it
reminded
funny
me of Captain America, Winter Soldier in the
in the
elevator scene.
elevator. He just said
Yeah.
sorry and just
Like, "I'm
knocked these
sorry."
twos out. I mean, if you
Yeah.
come on, you got to have if you are concerned about a dude that
He's literally was, like, this much taller than the other dudes.
it was almost comical. It's like me standing next to Andre the Giant or like Undertaker or somebody. It's like
And it
I'm a
was so
big
fast, he took them both out at the same time, and it was just, like, so easy.
they didn't see it coming. It was like bop, bop,
Yeah.
and they're done. And then he
Yeah.
walks out. He finds out he's being double crossed by Parangoski.
Right. That was a quick turn, huh? It was just, like, an episode or 2 that we found out that she was, like, not in the government anymore and kind of in hiding
Yeah,
herself
but
and,
she's
like,
still
almost
an
a
ONI,
rebel.
yeah. Uh,
It was just he got played. John got played.
yeah, I mean, who can he really trust?
Right.
He thought he can trust Kai, and he feels like I think he's lost now, or he thinks he's lost that, which I think all that's gonna flip on its head in this next episode. They're all gonna realize we should have trusted you. We should have believed you. We've been with you from day one. I don't know why we questioned your
As soon as the Spartans see the peril that's going down outside their door, yeah, it'll be like flipping a switch where all that dissension or yeah, it'll be gone, which will be good to see. I want to because they'll need it, right? I mean, the
yeah.
Spartans need to be on the same page if they're going to face this.
Yeah, they need to get those suits and they need to whoop some ass. And I am
Yeah.
looking forward to some ass whooping. That's what I'm looking for.
You know what I did like about this episode, and it finally came into focus for me this season so far, is that I don't mind anytime that we switch to different scenes with different characters. It used to be last year when we went back to the Kwan and the Soren stuff, it'd be like, okay, let's catch up with them, I guess. And then we'll get back to John and the Spartans. Like there was none of that this time. I'm invested in every single character's progression and, I love seeing it, whether John is, like, visiting, Re is it Reyes again? Or, the one officer he saved during the first battle, the first episode?
Perez.
Perez, yeah. Or, like we mentioned the stuff with Halsey and, Soren coming back in and Ackerson and his dad, like, everything was interesting. There's not a character that's, like, a slow
Yeah, even the
character.
Kwan, Liara, whole
Yeah,
situation where she's trying to, exit and escape the rubble.
yeah,
And I mean, Liara basically says, I'm gonna die to let my kid out. So
yes.
she sends Kwan with his son. I forget the son's name. I'm blanking on it right a second.
I know, we don't have it in the notes. Our apologies, Source
Kessler.
and Leanna Stein. Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's trying to get Kessler out. And Kwan essentially sends Kessler on the transport
Yeah.
and sneaks onto the ship. And she's up there. And while they are basically drilling Liara for this information, she's not giving up anything. You hear this tapping. And I'm like,
Dude, that whole thing, that scene was great too because it's like, Liara makes a sacrifice, right? We think Liara's out and about, like, Liara's not gonna make it to the end of
yeah,
this episode. She's making sure that her son and Kwan are able to survive and, move forward. And that's the way it's played, and that's the way as a viewer, you feel like it's
yeah.
going. And then when how they turn that on its head, when they are going and, she has, Quan has a conversation with the kid, and he turns around and, "Are you, am I gonna see my mother again?" And she's like, "Are you lying?" And she's like, "No." Or yeah, she's like making sure, and she's like,
Mhm.
as a viewer, we're like, "Oh, she's gotta lie to the kid," just like Soren did a couple episodes ago. "Oh, this sucks, poor kid." But
Yeah.
she wasn't lying. She ain't
No.
lying. She was like, "You get on this ship, kid. I gotta make" and the way they revealed it, where they go back and they're questioning and somewhat torturing Liana or about to, like, shoot her out the airway
Yeah,
or
airlock, yeah.
they're decompressing and she was choking or whatever. But even before then, when I heard the tapping in the distance, like, go check that out. I knew, like, "Oh, she snuck on the ship." I knew it was
Now see,
Quan
I
right
didn't
away.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what was truly going on. I thought, something was going on the ship and they were just singing. I didn't connect the dots at the time. I was sucked into the story. I
Yeah.
was so tunnel vision on
Oh,
Liara and them torturing her
it was
basically.
great too because Kwan was still, like, kind of in a haze or in a trance where she kept tapping the knife on the thing,
Dude,
and
that
it
was
was
the
like,
best.
she's
Oh,
because she wasn't done, and she knew it. She knew
mhm.
that there was one more left, and Liana was trying to, like, yap, 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 like, talk to her, like, "What's going on? Blah, blah, blah." But she was like, "I'm not ready yet. Hold on." And finally, the one lady finally popped out. Boom! It was like she got it. Kwan Kwan was pretty killer this episode. Like,
Well, the past 2. She took
yeah,
care of those 2 guys when she pulled out the
yeah,
tag of her ear,
right,
and now, I mean, this essentially the whole crew. She took
yeah,
out the whole crew on a simple move of just tapping the knife on a railing and
yeah.
surprising them.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, Quan was probably maybe my least favorite character last season. I thought the whole story arc was just the weaker story. It was kind of felt like a B story, and the introduction with her was hard. I'm glad we have all that backstory, but I find her to be a much more interesting and frankly badass character this time around. Where it's like now when I see her on screen, I'm like, okay, like, and I have a little faith that we'll see something cool and like I don't know. It's just a total. It's a 180 from how I
Well, I
felt
think we got
last
a
season.
maturing of her because when we met
Yeah,
her, uh, so was it not Sanctuary? It was Madrigal. Madrigal
yeah,
was invaded. Madrigal. I mean, she was her family and everyone was just murdered in front of her, and she was whisked away by Master Chief. So
yeah.
she was in complete. I'll always put it. She was in complete shock and growing up in front of us in that first season.
Right.
This season here, we pick up. We don't pick up right at the end of season one. We pick up 6 months later. So now
Hmm.
she's been on the rubble for 6 months.
She's
She,
had to
I,
survive.
she's had almost like she was on the run. She was
Yeah.
in a certain area where she was kind of like secluded from everybody,
Hmm.
but able to keep in contact with Kessler, you know, that type of thing. So she was hardened during that period of time, which then turned her into essentially a resident of the rebel. You have to be
Yeah.
that person to be able to survive. And that's
Right.
what we see now. That's what the maturing of her character we've went ahead and gotten.
Trying to look and see, and it's noticeable that we haven't even talked really much about John, and I'm not going to even get there yet. So Riz had her own kind of little bit of development further along too, where she joined up with the fellows that she was with. I guess he's a doctor, right? Is he a doctor?
I don't know if he's a doctor or
Some
not,
kind of
frankly.
healer, some kind of I can't tell if he's a doctor or a cult leader. I don't know I don't know if I fully trust these two. I'm not entirely sure,
I
but
think I trust the blind guy.
yeah.
I'm not sure about the doctor because I feel like the blind guy has nothing but
Yeah, I
good
haven't yeah.
intentions.
Whatever
100% good
bad
intentions.
vibes I'm getting from the other guy, I'm not getting from him, but there are a couple, which I guess was revealed in this episode. I don't think we knew that
No, we
before.
didn't know that. No.
But Riz, you can tell she's starting to find a place outside of just the locker room corridors of, the
Yeah.
Spartan,
Well, she feels lost.
waiting room. Yeah.
She said, well, she didn't know where she belongs or where to go. And you're like, oh, Christ, now we got to drink.
Right, yeah.
That was okay. That was a funny line. I don't care what her thoughts on that dude was. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, now we have to drink.
That was, and I hope that, it's interesting, whatever it is, because the character of Riz herself is kind of progressing with the stuff that I was hoping to see more of, and that we saw a lot of last season when they took the pellets out.
Mhm.
Just like what it means to be human and how a Spartan can
Yes.
learn to be like the rest of us. And Riz is kind of taking the lead on that, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I'm concerned based on how the episode ended. I'm concerned about the two guys she's with.
Yeah.
I think I don't think they're going to make it out. I think the building's
Gotta
going to
give.
hit.
You think they're just Riz motivation?
Uh,
They were written just to give Riz a little push to
well, we
uh
know the guy that is blind was in the Spartan program,
yes.
so I think he's going to stay behind to help his boyfriend, husband, or whoever he is
Yeah.
that may be injured, and that's going to be his downfall. They're both going to die together.
Uh oh, but that's very specific. You are so good at writing future
Well,
plot
when
lines
when I
that
enjoy a
may or may
show,
not
you could
happen.
tell it when I enjoy a show because I get into this crap.
You do, you become a writer.
Uh, but I think that's going to happen because Riz is going to escape, obviously, and she's
Yeah.
going to rejoin Silver Team.
Yeah.
But I think the other two aren't going to make it in that
Mm.
situation. I don't know where Vanek is. I have no clue where Vanek is. We get very little from Vanek, really.
We do, which is unfortunate because I would hope that we have kind of more equal footing and equal time in the show. The only thing that we see of Vanek is he's still in the locker room and he looks up at the boards that say, the status of all the
Standby,
Spartans.
yeah. Of
Yeah, the
Cobalt,
standby.
standby, yeah.
So you do wonder kind of what his thoughts are in that moment. But he's an ace in the hole. He'll be he never really kind of left. While Kai and Riz were kind of having their doubts, and Riz was kind of going through her thing with her ribs and stuff, her injuries. Vanek the whole time was, he didn't show a lot of
He
hesitation,
didn't
just
say
following.
much. He just kind of turned and went. And I
Yeah,
think that's very I don't know. I think it's not
it
abnormal
yeah,
for a soldier. Kind of like, you know what? I don't know what to say here. I'm removing myself from the situation.
it's just easier, I think. You already have so many things you're going through. If you're going to make the choice to follow Master Chief's lead, then you just keep making that choice. And while
Yeah.
Kai and Riz kind of had influences elsewhere to maybe have them rethink things, I don't think Vanek did. So Vanek was just like, "Oh, Master Chief says we need to be here. All right, we're here. Let's keep moving."
You bring up Kai.
Yeah.
What do you think her arc is going to be in the next episode? Because I really think Ackerson's gotten to her. I think he
Yeah.
is in her head now. He has her second guessing everything she's done prior to coming to him and everything that's happened since with Master Chief.
I think that maybe going forward, it might be a more of a division between her and maybe, if not just Master Chief, then the rest of the Spartans. Maybe he's going to be an influence. It's definitely not going to be like, oh, is Master Chief crazy? It'll be more like, is Master Chief really the leader that we need right now, or do we need something different? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that same dynamic is going to maybe change a little bit, but go forward in the same vein where Ackerson may be kind of a splinter between, Kai and the others.
Okay. So here's a better question. This is an I checked it. We were 8 episodes in this season. We're
Okay.
3 in. We have 5 left.
Okay.
Will all 3 other Spartans survive this season?
Oh, the whole season?
This season.
Mm.
Well, all 4 of Silver Team that came into this season walk out of this season.
I'm going to give it
Master
a
Chief will, because you can't get rid of Master Chief.
no. I'm going to say 75% no. I think at least one of them is going to go.
I think either Riz or I think Riz, because of the story arc they're giving her right now, the
Mhm.
kind of the enlightenment, the opening of the world, all of that. I think she may make a decision to save somebody
Yeah.
that she wouldn't have made when she had the Paladin that may
Yeah.
cost her life. Or it could be with Kai second guessing something Master Chief is saying, and
Yeah.
that could then cause her. I think Vanek, if Vanek goes out, he's going to go out in a blaze of glory. He's going to go out.
Vanek would be low hanging fruit, and honestly, they haven't given him enough as an audience to care about yet.
We
Like
wouldn't feel the loss.
we wouldn't feel the same loss that we would because we spent more time with both Kai and Riz, and they have other things going on. So I definitely think that between all of them, it would be either Riz or Kai, and I think between those two, it more likely be Kai, where she does have some sort of division or split from Master Chief, and at the end, as she's dying, maybe in Master Chief's arm or whatever, it's like, I'm sorry, or I should have followed you, or you were the best leader, whatever, some kind of dialogue where
Yeah.
they it's water under the bridge as far as whatever had divided them previously, and gives Master Chief more maybe the oomph that he needs to continue fighting the I almost said the Geth, which is the bad guys in Mass Effect.
The Covenant?
The Covenant, right. But also, how does Master Chief become a better leader? Because it's one thing to be programmed to be the leader. It's another thing to be an actual natural leader and
Yeah.
not have people follow you because they're just following your brand or this propaganda that has lifted you up, or even a pellet that tells them to do so. It's because you inspire them, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think he'll learn a little bit. So I think maybe if we do lose any Spartans, I think it may be Kai in that way.
Yeah, I can see that either way happening.
Yeah.
Let's see what else actually happened. Well, no, let's talk a little bit about the ending. Like when Master Chief goes to Sergeant Perez's house.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and the
his-
mother just denies him access.
Oh yeah, she was like, "Nope, you're not coming in here." I think she kind of realizes.
Even Master Chief, 7 foot tall John 117 wasn't getting through that door.
Nope, Mom was like, "Stop, bye."
Yeah. Completely realistic, by the way. Yeah. So after he got played by Parangoski, he was down and out. He's really low on himself.
Apparently, he didn't eat enough ramen. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah. He wasn't just eat the damn food, dude. But yeah, so I forget exactly why was he hunting what's her name?
I think hunting is the
Perez?
wrong word to put it, but yeah, Sergeant Perez.
Why was he looking for Perez this time around? Was it?
I think it was
he
the
just wandering?
code. It was the signal. He was like, "There's a signal," and she's like, "Well, once he finds her in the church."
Yeah.
And she finds out that he's never stepped foot in a church before. And she kind of explains to him why people go to a church. for all the different reasons for answers, and do
I
you
like
find them?
that because yeah, like I said, I like the little things where the Spartans learn to be more human and learn more about the
Yeah,
humanity around them, and that was just a little cookie
just a
of
little nugget. When she said sometimes, she's like, okay, I think he understood.
right.
Not all the time, but sometimes you get clarity, you get answers. When you're sitting here,
Yeah.
uh, when
What
she's
a
like,
what a cool looking just to talk about the backdrop and the set design a little bit, like, I was looking at it and I was like, "That does look like a future church." Like, it still looked very, like, ornate
dude, all the
and
sets
warm.
are practical sets.
Is that
Where
right? I
where
did not
they
know that.
where they ate the ramen, that, like, futuristic, like, thing,
Yeah,
they actually found an abandoned building, which was kinda hollowed out almost, and they
right.
went ahead and they designed it so it would fit their aesthetic. They
Okay,
are
that's
yeah.
incredible. That's good set
I'm not
design.
I'm not 100% certain about the church itself, but through that
Yeah.
declassified show, which may be worth going back if you guys haven't watched already,
Yeah,
check out
I
at
will
least the
now,
most
yeah.
recent one. They're not I think they're like 15 minutes, they're not very long.
Mhm.
It shows you how they went ahead and converted it to actually make it out to what they needed to be.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah, I'll
your
check
eye
that out.
picked up on that. Like I said, I'm not sure about the church, but the rest of it was practical, not all CG.
But that was a great place for him to be in while because that's how the show I mean, that's how this episode ends, is just the explosion outside this church, and
I
"Oh, it's
dropped
happening."
I dropped a verbal, "Are you effing kidding me?" Like I lost track of time. Like we
Right.
are like a big thing with these streaming shows that they're always so short.
Mhm.
Halo is giving us beefy, almost hour episodes every
Yes.
single episode. And this
Yeah.
one sucked me into the point where I wanted more. Like
Mhm.
when they ended it, I'm like, okay, I want some of this action that's coming. We've got all the political intrigue in this episode, which, like I said, I didn't know I needed, but was perfect for it to
Yeah.
set up what is coming for the next 5 episodes.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. I'll ask the folks out there, that have joined us live tonight. We appreciate you being with us. What was your favorite part about the episode? What do you have any theories going forward? Even if you're a fan of Halo or the books or the story, the games, and you probably have a good idea of what's coming our way. Yeah, you know what Chris and I think, and we're hoping for at least, is that at least a majority of the remainder of the season takes place on Reach with the battle for or of Reach, with the Covenant invading, and characters that we've really grown to, like, and we don't want to see any harm come to them. How they're going to interact with each other, how they're going to face this threat. I hope they really kind of because so far they've taken their time, they've laid decent track,
Yes.
and I hope they're able to execute going forward. I do.
Yeah, last season 1 is where they basically laid the foundation. Even though a lot of
Mhm.
people didn't like some of the foundation,
A lot of world building, a lot
yeah,
of where we are, who these characters are.
it
Yeah,
was meant for fans like us that
yeah,
don't were being introduced to this world. Now
right.
that we have a stake in what happens to Master Chief, Riz, Venick, Kai,
Yeah, not just Master Chief,
Halsey.
all
Uh,
these characters pretty much.
I was bummed to see Cobalt team down. When I seen
Yeah,
that they died, I
they
was
had
like,
one scene last and it was just enough to be like, "Oh, that sucks."
yeah. And come to
Yeah.
find out, they didn't even make it into the actual relay. They were ambushed outside the relay.
Right, yeah.
So, and when they were basically what came down to how are we gonna, address this? What do they say? What are they gonna say? Oh, missing in action, MIA.
Oh, MIA, yeah.
So they weren't even gonna be truthful to anybody. They were gonna say they were just missing in action,
Yeah,
which is a
dirty.
scumbag way to go about doing that.
Sure is. Ackerson,
But
come on, dude.
I understand the underlying thinking behind it. Because if
Yeah,
you do that, you're gonna cause a riot. If you go ahead and activate the winter program, the winter evacuation program, whatever they call it,
yeah,
there's gonna be mass chaos. If
yeah.
if the covenant's 3 days, you know, basically here, you put all these ships up in the air that have all these defenseless civilians in them, they're sitting ducks. So I
It is a
understand.
good point too, especially when you have an outside threat invading a galaxy. Like the last thing you want to do is separate humanity into bands of rebels and basically make the entirety of the galaxy you're in look like rubble or with just space pirates and different factions that are at war with each other. Meanwhile, trying to fight the Covenant. Like you need a united force against the Covenant, and I don't know the best way to get there. Ackerson, seems to know a path forward, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, he claims all leadership knows So they
Yeah.
know what's coming. There's what's coming down on them, and we know via the trailers. Admiral Keyes doesn't leave. He sends there and he rallies the troops. So we've got some
I'm
fun
uh
coming.
I'm glad that I haven't spoiled too much. We watched the trailer a little bit and some stuff, but I'm glad that even though this story is somewhat known by the people who played the game and read the books, I'm glad I'm not seeing it because I feel I like the surprise. I
Yeah,
like watching the story unfold in front of me, and I feel like the actors and the direction and the cinematography and the production is they're really firing this season so far. So I'm glad to be here each week.
yeah, it's absolutely a step above last season.
Yeah,
So it's been fun. I'm hoping that it gains more traction because I
yeah,
want Paramount to give us a season 3 if it's warranted. If they this works out, and so far it's been great.
yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. But guys, what do you think? What have you thought? Like Sean said, if you're going to give us a comment, please be a little
Watch for
be a
spoilers.
yes, be aware that we don't know going forward. So you
Yeah,
can drop little things in there that you may know and other people may know as well. What we're talking about. Just don't completely spoil it for us. It's fun for us to see your reactions as well.
right. We're gonna be here next Friday talking about episode 4 of season 2 of Halo. Join us each and every week the Halo After Show. We are Dadnarok. We really wanted to do some trailer reactions this week. Maybe we'll get to them. There's some fun stuff coming out. There's the new Kong and Godzilla movie where it looks like they finally team up, right?
Yeah, it looks like a Mecha
Um,
Kong.
yeah, yeah, something's going on, something crazy. There was there was the Deadpool Wolverine trailer, there's Twisters. You and I mean, we're old, so
I
we
remember
were
seeing the first time I seen Twister was in
yeah.
Memorial High School on a movie night on the projector. Uh, that there are memories I've got with that movie.
That may not get a lot of traction as far as, like, the zeitgeist of the current pop culture right now, a sequel to Twister, but for you and me, I know we're gonna be there when that comes out.
I'm like right now. I'm just thinking about driving through a house and seeing a cow fly by.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
So
that's pretty much.
there's a lot of good stuff coming up here in the spring and into the summer. We'll be here for that too. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, be sure to get there, get us to 500. And until then, I guess we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.